call the Tuesday, September 1st, 2015 Manistee City Council meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please take the roll.
Mayor Kenny.
Here.
Councilmember Floyd.
Here.
Councilmember Zelinski.
Here.
Councilmember Woodruff.
Here.
Councilmember Gustet.
Here.
Interim City Manager.
Here.
City Attorney.
Here.
DPW Director.
Here.
Public Safety Director.
Here.
And City Engineer.
Here.
Thank you. Before we move on, we have a motion to amend the agenda to include a consideration of the local revenue sharing board grant. Would anybody like to make that motion?
I'll make a motion to add new business following council to consider a local revenue sharing application.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Goodspeed, supported by Councilmember Zelinski, to amend the agenda to include consideration of local revenue sharing board grant application. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we just call the roll.
Councilmember Cody.
Yes.
Councilmember Zelinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed.
Yes.
Mayor Kenny.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Woodruff.
Yes.
And Councilmember Gustet.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Public hearings, we have none. Citizen comment on agenda-related items. Is there anyone who would like to comment on tonight's agenda? So please raise your hand. Yes, please come forward, state your name and address.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council members, City Attorney, Business Manager. I am Nancy Day, 325 Lighthouse Way South, and this is Julie Raymond, 2546 Red Apple Road, Manistee. We come to you tonight for the 8th time. It has become a tradition in Manistee, and we want to ask you to join us in the celebration of life once again as we paint the town pink. This year, as in the years past, we are going to be directing the funds that are generated from the Gifts of the Heart from the walkers and community members and business members to benefit the Women's Health Services at West Shore Medical Center. We invite all of you to join us with a celebration of life and remembrance, as well as the Ribbon Walk, which will be held in downtown Manistee at the west end near the fountain. We're gathering at 4 p.m. on October 8th. The ceremony is at 4:45 with the Ribbon Walk promptly at 5. We will be walking from the west end all the way to 31 and all the way back so that we can have our walkers see all the beautifully decorated windows, as well as share the experience with each of the loved ones. This year, because the fabric of our community is a spirit of giving, we weave into each other's lives at all times. Where one person is affected by cancer, whether it be breast cancer or otherwise, it also affects family members, friends, and other loved ones in the community. We're here to celebrate, we're here to support. And so there's also 2 ways this year that we are going to be honoring a loved one. For your information, and thank you very much in advance for allowing us to go through this little bit of a deviation from what we've done in the past. And for $25, we're going to be asking donors to write the names or to have the names of a loved one on a fabric square that will be included in a pink quilt to be displayed at West Shore Medical Center. And the second way of demonstrating the support would be either in remembrance or honor of a loved one or a friend, would be for $20 to recognize a loved one with a large pink bow that will adorn a lamppost on the downtown lamppost from West End to East End, and also on Washington Street and Division if we have enough of those. They're going to be large bows. It'll make a statement, and we are going to be truly painting the town pink. Those can be purchased through West Shore Healthcare Foundation. And we want to thank everyone in advance for your consideration, but also invite everyone to join us for our 8th year on the 8th. We can't thank you enough for allowing us this opportunity to give back to the community, to give to the community, and to support the loved ones who have been stricken with cancer. And we want it to be a celebration, is what we want it to be. We have a new logo in the town pink. This will be the first of many that you'll be seeing throughout all of Manistee. And we want to thank also all of our city officials, those that partner with us, whether it be the public safety, whether it be the DPW, our mayor, all of our city council members. We want to thank you very much for all the support you've given us through the years, and hope that we can continue so we can make a difference. And thank you very, very much. And Julie just has one word to say for a change.
I was just going to say, let's just make a pink explosion this year. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Anyone else would like to comment on tonight's agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. All agenda items marked with an asterisk on the consent agenda and considered by the city manager to be routine matters. Prior to approval of the consent agenda, any member of council may have an item from the consent agenda removed and taken up during the regular portion of the meeting. Consent agenda items include approval of minutes, approval of payroll, cash balances report, notification regarding next work session, consideration of hops and props on the river, consideration of MHS homecoming parade, and consideration of Paint the Town Pink event. Is there a
I'll
motion?
make the motion that we take action to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilmember Cody, supported by Councilmember Goodspeed, to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there anything? See now,
Councilmember Zelinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed?
Yes.
Councilmember Gaston?
Yes.
Councilmember Whitliff?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Cody?
Yes.
And Mayor Kenny.
yes,
Motion approved.
thank you. Next, we'll move on to new business. Consideration of a resolution to support Manistee National Guard Armory and Bravo Troop. Plans have been announced the Bravo Troop Company may be transferred out of Manistee. A local group, including Mayor Pro Tem Smith, has been working here to keep Bravo Company in Manistee. The resolution under consideration would encourage state and federal elected officials to work to save the Bravo Company and the local armory.
I'll make a motion, the city council take action to adopt a resolution in support of Manistee National Guard Armory and Bravo Troop.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Councilmember Goodspeed, supported by Councilmember Cody, to adopt the resolution. Is there any other discussion? See now, will you please take the roll?
Councilmember Goodspeed?
Yes.
Councilmember Whitliff?
Yes.
Mayor Kenny?
Yes,
Councilmember Zelinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Cody?
Yes.
Councilmember Gaston?
Yes.
And Mayor Pro Tem Smith?
Yes.
Motion approved.
thank you. Consideration of authorizing Manistee Township water agreement. The agreement proposes that the city will provide potable water in those areas of Manistee Township where necessary infrastructure already exists. Existing property owners who are not connected to the water lines will not be required to connect until their existing system fails unless required by the health department. Township customers will be treated similarly to city customers, except they will pay a rate 118% of the city rate. That is the rate recommended in the final report issued by Burton and Associates in September of 2014. Current city customers within the township also make a payment in lieu of taxes. Those customers would be offered the choice of changing to the new rate structure under this agreement and phasing out the PILT over 3 years, or staying with their current contract with the city. The township would adopt ordinances necessary to ensure the safety of the water supply. The initial term of the agreement is for 10 years. The city would continue to own and operate the system. Is there a motion to take action to approve the terms?
I make a motion for council to take action to approve the terms of the water service agreement between the city of Manistee and Manistee Township and allow for minor non-substantive changes by the city manager.
Also.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Smith, supported by Councilmember Goodspeed, to approve the terms of the water service agreement. Is there any further discussion?
I would only point out that Manistee Township has not taken action on the agreement, but they expect to in 2 weeks.
Okay. Any other concerns, questions, comments?
I'd just like to thank the interim city manager, Bypass, for all your hard work and the team you had to put together. And this has been a long time coming, and glad we were able to put it to rest. So,
Michelle, will you please take the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitliff,
Yes.
Councilmember Gaston,
Yes.
Councilmember Cody,
Yes.
Councilmember Zelinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed,
Yes.
and Mayor Kenny.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Consideration of awarding a contract for local street paving. During the budgeting process for fiscal year 2015-16, a two-year transportation improvement plan, TIP, was created. 1 year included mill and fill paving operations for local streets, which do not have immediate utility upgrades contemplated. The second year of the plan included resurfacing using a slurry seal process on major streets. Spicer Group compiled a bid package for the local street projects. One addition street segment was added to the approved TIP along with 2 blocks of curb and gutter. The bid package also included a $25,000 allocation for Michigan Department of Transportation to include sectional mill and fills along US 31 within the city limits. 3 bids were received. Reith Riley for $490,971.74, Hallett Contracting for $456,451.14, and Elmer and Crane and Dozer for $422,349.64, which staff is recommending. Is there a motion to take action to award a contract bid to Elmer, Crane and Dozer?
I'll make a motion that council take action to award the contract to Elmer's Crane and Dozier in the amount of $422,349.64 and authorize the mayor and city to execute the appropriate documents.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Gudstad, supported by Councilmember Whitler, to approve the contract. Is there any other questions, discussion?
I think, I asked Mr. Buckles, why we were only doing the $422,000 amount, since we were, with the added money that we put into the budget and some state of Michigan money slightly above $500,000 in funds. And the response I got was $140,000 was being rolled into major streets for 2016 budget for 12th Street.
Hopefully to address 12th Street.
I would just like to note that the ad hoc committee for streets indicated that we needed $600,000 a year to maintain the condition of streets. And at this level, we may be falling further behind as opposed to maintaining or making any progress. So we, as council, need to take action to try and get some funding for our local streets in the future and maintain this. But I know the capital improvement plan doesn't call for local streets next year, it's all major streets.
Correct. I would agree that this does not solve the problem, but it's a step more than we've taken in the recent past.
Yes, it is, and I thank you for your efforts.
Any other discussion? Michelle, will you please take the roll?
Councilmember Whitliff,
Yes.
Councilmember Zelinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed,
Yes.
Councilmember Gaston,
Yes.
Councilmember Cody,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith,
Yes.
and Mayor Kenny.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Consideration of entering into a master agreement with Manistee United Methodist Church. The Manistee United Methodist Church and the Ramsdale Theater are adjacent to each other. The parties have been working for a number of years to address issues of joint concern. The city and church have negotiated a master agreement which addresses the outstanding issues. Is there a motion to take action to enter into the master agreement?
I'll make a motion, the council take action to enter into a master agreement with Manistee United Methodist Church and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute the agreement.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Smith, supported by Councilmember Cody, to enter into the master agreement with Manistee United Methodist Church. Is there any other questions, comments?
Yes. We, the city, pay them an annual $1,000 a year to use that parking lot. And then we agreed to remove snow from that parking lot. In order to keep the separation between church and state. The only question I got, would it be better that we maybe pay $2,000 for you said a lot and let them haul their own, contract their own snow removal? That's my question.
They do all their own plowing. What
Okay.
we do is remove snow and it accumulates around the corners. And we do that at other corners. And that would be specifically as part of the consideration in the agreement for the Ramsdale Theater, which is a city-owned property. So I don't believe there's any church and state issue.
Okay.
I don't believe so either. I think it's a negotiated agreement to provide something to the city, so I think we're good.
Okay, so in other words, we're just taking the snow away from the corners.
Correct.
And this
Okay.
this has been a long-standing agreement. We're just now putting it in writing, I believe.
Most of this agreement has been effectively the operation for many, many years. We've just never had a contract that we could both refer to and say, you're supposed to do this and we're supposed to do that.
I think the positive to this agreement is the church agreeing not to resist efforts potentially for the Ramsdale to secure a liquor license, which would substantially increase revenue and venues that may operate out of that location. That's important to the growth of revenue.
Diana? So now you please take the roll.
Councilmember Gaston,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitliff,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Kenny,
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed,
Yes.
Councilmember Zelinski,
Yes.
and Councilmember Cody.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Consideration designating a voting delegate to the Michigan Municipal League annual meeting. The annual convention of the Michigan Municipal League will be held September 16th through the 18th, 2015. Pursuant to the provisions of the league bylaws, we are requested to designate by action of the governing body one official who will be in attendance at the convention as the official representative to cast the vote of the city of Manistee at the annual meeting, and if possible, to designate one other official to serve as an alternate. Signed up to attend the convention are Mayor Pro Tem Smith, Councilmember Zelinski, and Interim City Manager Byfox. Is there a motion to take action to appoint a voting delegate?
2 points, if I may. One, it's typically elected officials that are voting delegates, and 2, I may not be able to attend due to a conflict with another meeting, so.
Well,
So it makes it pretty clear, no?
I'll make a motion to appoint Mayor Pro Tem Smith to be our delegate and Councilman Zelinski to be the alternate. Michigan.
I'll support that.
I have a motion by Councilmember Goodspeed, supported by Councilmember Cody, to appoint Mayor Pro Tem Smith as our voting delegate and Councilmember Zelinski as the alternate. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, will you please take the roll?
Councilmember Cody,
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed,
Yes.
Councilmember Gaston,
Yes.
Mayor Kenny,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitliff,
Yes.
Councilmember Zelinski,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Next is consideration of the Local Revenue Sharing Board grant application. The Local Revenue Sharing Board distributes 2% from the Little River Casino. The deadline for 2015 Cycle 2 application is Friday, September 4th, 2015 at 5 p.m. City staff has prepared one grant application for submission to the Local Revenue Sharing Board. Council has requested an opportunity to approve the initial individual grant application. This agenda item will include one separate motion for the one grant application.
I'll make a motion to authorize the submission of a grant application to the Local Revenue Sharing Board for an AED replacement in the amount of $8,214.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Goodspeed, supported by Councilmember Cody, to approve the grant for the fire. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, will you please take the roll?
Councilmember Zelinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitliff,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Kenny,
Yes.
Councilmember Gaston,
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed,
Yes.
Councilmember Cody.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to notices, communications, and announcements. The regular part of each council meeting is a report from a cooperating agency, organization, or department. And tonight, we'll hear from Mr. Jeff McCullough, who will report on the activities of the Department of Public Works and the Tree Commission.
Madam Mayor, I need to apologize for some technological failures. Mr. McCool had a PowerPoint presentation, but we can't even bring it up on the computer, so he's going to have to wing it.
Can't even get it up on the screen.
Can't even get it up on the screen.
Was?
I know that it was, but it's not now.
Do we want to, would you rather postpone it for another?
Freudian
It's
slip.
an amazing presentation. It's up to you.
What does council, would you prefer to see the presentation as he put it
I want to see him
together?
wing it.
Yeah.
No.
I think for the benefit not only of council, but for the public as well, it would be beneficial to at least see what you have in a display. In my opinion, would be
I was willing to wing it, at least looking at the computer screen, but I don't have a printout, so.
All right, we'll just postpone it.
Okay, thank you.
It's all right.
Well, while I'm here, I do have a couple things I wanted to point out, if you don't mind.
Nope.
The street contract that you just awarded, it's important to understand that Elmwood plans to do 2 different mobilizations for that project. The first is going to be sections of US 31 that we've identified that are failing. Most of them are by joints and catch basins. The small sections that require a lot of pothole patching in the spring and in the fall. And so MDOT has given us a work order for $25,000. We've laid that out and we bid it with this local paving contract. So they're going to mobilize to do that work first. That'll happen sometime this month in September. And then we'll get better dates when we schedule a pre-con meeting for probably later next week. But then the second mobilization will be mill and fill operations. And just to remind you of the streets that are in the plan this year, it includes 9th Street from Davis east to Vine Street, St. Mary's Parkway from Washington all the way to the west end, 3rd Street beginning at Sycamore and then skipping across Maple Street and going all the way to the dead end at the west end, which is just short of Spruce Street. And then 1 block of Elm, Locust, and Cedar between 8th and 9th Street, and then the block of 9th Street that kind of connects those 3. So all of those operations are a variation of mill and fill where we're going to be grinding off part of the pavement and then repaving those back with a thicker section. They will stay open to local traffic, but we'll be sending out letters to each of the residences along those routes, even in the time frames, and then letting them know, to keep the parking off street during those construction project. The other significant thing that I wanted to get out to council tonight is the water painting, the water tower painting contract for Maywood is underway. The contractor's been here for about a week. They have been doing all of the steel work, welding, and most of them are safety upgrades, adding hatches, replacing some of the ladders. That work should be done today. So at 1 o'clock in the morning, the water department staff will be coming in and they'll be slowly turning the valve that isolates that water tower from the rest of the water system. At that time, they shut down the wells so that it doesn't create a big surges throughout our system. Once that is completed, about first thing in the morning, the fire department's going to assist the water department in then draining the remaining water from that tank. And then painting will begin shortly after that. So should take 2 to 3 weeks. We made provisions with the fire department to make sure that they're aware of what's going on, and we'll keep them informed of everything. We've also installed 3 different pressure reducing valves on hydrants so that if there are pressure variations in the system while this is going on, that helps relieve some of that pressure. But residents should understand that rusty water will occur. Water is going to be moving through these 50 miles of pipelines in different directions and at different velocities than they have in the past. And so that will disturb some sediments that are in the pipe. In July and early August, we flushed every hydrant in the system, so we got as much of that out as we could, as close to the project as we could. But some of that stuff's going to happen, so just wanted to give you those 2 updates.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to concerns and comments. Citizen comment. This is an opportunity for citizens to comment on municipal services, activities, or areas of city involvement. Citizens attended shall be recognized by the mayor for comments, which are limited to 5 minutes. Letters submitted to council will not be publicly read. Is there anyone who'd like to comment? Yes, sir. Please come forward, state your name and address.
My name is Dennis Skira, and although I don't live in the city, I do have several rental properties in the city, and I guess my concern tonight is with the Spicer Group and the new fee schedule. Prior to them taking over in July of this year, and just to comment, there were several of us landlords were never notified of the fee schedule, never notified that they were taking over, but that's beside the point. Formerly, the registration was $10. Now it's $40 times the number of units. The first inspection was $40 formerly, and $20 for each additional unit. Now it's $90 times the number of units. And reinspection is $70 times the number of units. My question is, how did this happen when you're talking that kind of an increase? Because effectively, it's a tax increase for us as landlords. Could someone explain that to me, how this happened?
I'd be happy to. Up until the time that Spicer was signed on as a contractor, and by the way, that was advertised and ultimate bids were received, the city substantially subsidized the rental inspection program. The city council, on the basis of our reduced revenue stream over the last many years, has decided that program should be self-supporting. So the bidders were asked to submit inspection prices which would make the program entirely self-supporting. Both bidders, by the way, did the same dollar amount, that's $90 per inspection. That was a fee increase equal to $2.50 per month for each residential unit. I think it's a reasonable expectation that those cost increases get passed on to the tenant who is the beneficiary of the program, but it is now self-sufficient.
Who was the other bidder? I'm sorry, I didn't...
The other bidder was Mark Neeson.
The former building inspector, which is my next question. Do we have a building inspector anymore?
No.
Okay. What do we do when we have a problem, for instance, like with the noxious weed ordinance? Who do we call?
It depends on the nature of the problem. If it's a blight issue, it's the police department. If it's a weed or yard issue, it's DPW.
All right, I did have a blight issue, and I called the local police department, the city department, and they told me they had a compliance officer, but that officer was out on some type of maternity leave or something, and that was 4 months ago, and I'm still waiting.
The officer is back.
Apparently don't get his messages. Also, I would wonder, do you have a reasonable figure of how many properties are rental properties in Manistee? There are several that I'm aware of that are owner-occupied properties that have rental units in them, and I suspect that most of them are not registered.
This really is intended to be public comment, not a Q&A period. If you want to call me tomorrow, I'd be happy to respond.
I would love to sit down with you, Ben, and get some numbers so that perhaps you could have those ready for me. I would like to know, are the subsidized housing units subject to this same inspection? We're talking Woda, the Manistee House, Reeds Park, some of the others, Cherry Hill.
Be happy to meet with you.
Okay. I didn't figure I'd get many answers tonight. Also, just as a side note, I went by the Manistee housing property up in the Vine Street area. Perhaps somebody else.
Sir, you have 1 minute, please.
Pardon me?
1 minute remaining.
I just wonder, and I'll make a comment because I think the city actually condones these obsolete properties. I'm going to give you just a little list. Half an hour before the meeting, I took a drive by. One was Manistee Housing Commission property. The second was a Salty Dog Saloon, formerly 1203 Manistee Street. Sings Old Century Boat Plant, the old city garage, another noxious weed hole. 900 Vine, the roof is collapsed. 910 Engelman, it's an auto parts dumping ground. 1001 Kosciuszko.
Sir, can you please wrap up your comments?
Pardon me?
Can you please wrap up your comments?
Okay. So what I would like to know is these dilapidated properties affect my rental properties, They affect the rent we can get, and Ben made the comment, we should raise the rent to the tenants. We're lucky to find a tenant, number one, that can pay the rent, and number two, has a job. So, excuse me if I think this is just another way for the city to put their little friends into a position to bilk us landlords. The Spicer Group is nothing more than an offshoot of the old Avonmarsh, as far as I'm concerned. And
Thank
not
you,
only
sir.
that, but why is but why is Mitch working for that company and they have the contract
you.
with the city?
Thank you.
I thank you a lot.
Is there anyone else who'd like to comment? Yes, sir. Please state your name and address.
Name's Ted Wagner, 197 6th Street, over by Morton Salt. Anyhow, thanks for giving me an audience, folks. I'm here on behalf of myself and my neighbors here in the back row. We live in the area of Morton Salt Plant, and I'm sure, as you've probably heard through the grapevine, 7 and 4 News Advocate, and radio, we have had a major cockroach infestation in the neighborhood due to the house at 600 Kosciuszko. If you like, this young lady in the rear can present you with a video of a swarming trash can 15 feet from my house that's still littered with cockroaches. They are outdoors, they are in our trash cans, our mailboxes, the wheel wells of our car. It is the German cockroach breed, which is one of the hardest to eliminate. I've hired personally #1 pest control, Orkin, and bought everything that Farm and Home sells to try to combat these, but yet I still just went home and killed a large number in my garage. My wife and 5 and 7-year-old daughter couldn't handle it anymore. They're downstate living with in-laws at the moment. I've thrown away about 50% of my personal possessions. Not your fault, nobody's fault here. If these aren't stopped, you're gonna have a problem on that side of town. I was wondering if somebody can look into precedent over something like this where you have a major infestation, what can be done as far as spraying that 4-block radius perhaps, or I should say 6 block, because as far as I know, it's down 3 blocks now. Unfortunately, we didn't have everybody here involved, but you're gonna lose business in Maxwell Town if this doesn't get stopped, if you haven't already. We need help, we're asking for your help. Let me dig out my notes here, lost my train of thought. For starters, lower our taxes. This young lady and this couple in the back called a realtor, they want out of there. The realtor said, I'm not interested, take a match to your house, I won't even list it for you. I bought my house for $60,000, it's assessed around $30,000. With a cockroach problem, I couldn't sell or rent it. I work in Chicago. I could care less if I live here or downstate, but I love it up here. I would love to stay. Give me a reason to stay in this town and pay my taxes and participate in the local businesses. And among the other stuff I do, I mentor young kids in my neighborhood and mechanical trades and whatnot. So taxes, #1, would be nice. Come on and take a look, give us a break. #2, we need some way to get rid of our stuff. My lawn furniture, my barbecue, I gave it to a scrap guy. I warned him it's infested with roaches. He informed me I'm going straight to the scrap yard. He came back the next day and went, I stopped at a buddy's house. He picked up your grill and off they scattered. All it takes is any number of the dozens of folks in our town who like to pick through the trash, and if you lived over on my side of town, you'd understand, to spread that crap right next door to you. Excuse my French, but I don't want to see this whole town tourism industry. You know, we try to maintain a pretty little facade here, but it's a bad problem. It's apocalyptic in nature. I could provide names and numbers to people who would attest to how bad that house was, and these bugs went everywhere. Morton Salt's a food grade plant. We don't want to see them lose their whatever they need to keep running, but help us. That's about all I have to say, unless you folks can think of something.
Well, I'm not on the stand, but I do have a comment to that as well.
You can come up later.
Sure.
Are you done, sir?
I believe so. think about the trash disposal, give us free reign, give us the ability to call a dump truck, or specifically one of your people. Hey sir, we just got a big collection together, can you come get it before the local pickers come and spread it all over this town, because I'm telling you, these buggers are, read the internet, I've done my research, ma'am, these are not ones you want to mess with. And at the moment, I don't know where to enroll my kids, downstate or up here, so I'm in a state of flux and I gotta go hop on a ship tomorrow, and I don't like, I'm a hard-working member of the community, we're asking for help, think about it. That's
Thank
all
you.
I got, thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Anyone else?
Well, I just had a quick, I just
Can
wanted
you
to make
please
a
come up,
comment.
state your name and address? Thank you.
So my name is Stephanie Cabot and I live at 623 Kosciuszko Street. And I just wanted to make a brief comment also on what Ted was saying, because I've had to stop multiple neighbors coming to help some of the elderly people because they're coming down to cut the grass. And what they don't understand is when they're cutting the grass, they're actually picking up the cockroaches and they're transferring them to the next lawn that they're doing. So Herbert's Funeral Home, I have not been able to catch who's ever doing their landscaping, but that is, a huge way that little rodent, that little creature is going to get transferred into other people's properties. So I just kind of, is there any way, we can kind of stretch the word out there more that, people that are doing the landscaping down in that area, that are picking up the trash, just to make sure that, that we aren't spreading it to other areas of the city, because it really is a situation. Even right down to, we have kids starting school, I'm just hoping none of these little buggers get in a backpack, in this book, the lunch pail, anything like that too. So just wanted to comment, on the seriousness that it is, and just, however we can spread that word out there to make it, so that way people don't transfer those grass clippings. Because yeah, my neighbor had a huge, at least 5x5 foot trailer that was all full of grass clippings, and he was going to transport that somewhere. Now the wife said, well, we'll take it right to East Lake dump area. So I don't know if they have like an area where they do brush drop off or what, but that's a prime example of whatever they just picked up from the yard across the street from me is definitely going to be spread now to wherever they dump that area. So that was just, a little tidbit there. So thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to comment? Yes. ma'am.
My name is Teresa Peso. I have a rental unit at 144th Street, and my husband and I own that together. We are also very concerned about the new guidelines set forth, and specifically the checklist that has become made us aware. I have never seen this checklist. I've had that rental for 10 years, and it's the first time I've seen a checklist. Mark's always come in, and I've always been there when he's done it. He's gone through everything, and there's been minor things that I've had to change, but nothing that is to a major degree on this new guideline. One of them is all rooms must be a minimum of 7 feet by 7 feet. Now, how many homes in Manistee have bathrooms that size? Ours doesn't qualify. We're not going to put in a new bathroom to meet these guidelines when it's been fine for how many years. That's just one issue. Ceilings have to be 7 feet, at least 7 feet. Well, upstairs, our ceilings do make that, but in the lower level, which is partially finished, they don't. We have drop ceilings. There's going to be quite a bit of expense involved in, coming up with ways to meet all of your guidelines here. So what I did talk to the Spicer Group. In fact, I may have even talked to Jeff. Are you Jeff? I may even talk to you. And he informed me that he does have a meeting scheduled with the city to go over these things. What I would like to see happen is the landlords in the city are included in that meeting so that we can have a voice in some of these issues. Spicer Group didn't even know the answers to some of these questions. So that's what I'm asking you tonight, if you would please consider including the landlords in the city. I think you're going to be losing a lot of great rentals if this actually goes through. My sister is Margie Zaccanelli of the Century 21 Real Estate. She has several rentals here in town, and she's also very concerned. She would have been here tonight, but couldn't because of the previous appointment. But she is also very concerned. I'm sure there's other landlords out there, like he was saying a lot of them didn't even get notified of this because this isn't the year they were supposed to get inspected. So we would just like to have a voice in this and would appreciate some years.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else like to comment?
Hi, my name is Ashley Pratt, and I live at 607 Kosciuszko Street. Since June 17th, we have been dealing with roaches. I've called everyone in the city office. I've talked to Ben. I actually called after there was blight sitting outside for 3 weeks that no one came to take care of. I paid the garbage man to take it. No one is doing anything. So far, he's been issued a ticket. That's it. Just a ticket. There are roaches all over the porch, the side of the house. They're everywhere. People don't want their kids coming over and playing at my house with my son because of cockroaches. And I just want to know when something is actually going to be done. Because no offense to you, Mr. Byflaws, but every time I had a problem, all I had to do was call Mitch, and he was right there. He was taking care of the issue with the neighbor who was wrecking my fence by stacking up his wood against it. He was dealing with the shared driveway issues and everything. I've talked to Ben several times. It's not his problem. There are over 50-some complaints at the health department. It's not the health department's problem. It's not Dave Bachman's problem. It's not the blight officer's problem. Whose problem is it? Who do I need to talk to get this taken care of? Because I guarantee you, if when I came into this building to pay my property taxes, if Heather wasn't sitting down at her office, somebody would have taken my check. But I can't get anybody to do anything about this issue at all. So I mean, I don't know if you can add this to the next council meeting agenda and we can get something done about this, but the roaches are now all the way down from 8th Street because a woman drug a mattress that had been sitting outside for 4 weeks down the street and infested the apartment building at the corner of 8th and Kosciuszko with roaches. They are at all of the bars. Stu's is having issues with them. Pub 522 is having issues with them. The Highway, the Painted Lady, the US 31 Diner. They're everywhere in our neighborhood and no one cares except for us. So I mean, I don't know if you guys can add something to the agenda for next month and maybe see what you guys can get figured out to take care of this problem, but I was rather upset when I seen it downplayed on the news. It's not taking care of your trash and making sure that you're emptying out beer cans. I've done that. I clean my house every day. My house is spotless, and I'm still finding them in my driveway, my front porch, on my back porch, in the entryway to my home. And no one cares.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to comment?
Linda Beaton, 256 Hughes Street. I just want to add a couple comments to Dennis's, Sierra's comments. One of the problems we face as realtors is we often get asked to sell rental property within the city. And people do think that because it's being advertised as a rental and a good investment, that they are meeting the code. I think it would be at least partially helpful if any time property switches hands in the city of Manistee that's a rental, that they have to provide a certificate that says that it's passed the standards of the building inspector. So that would be one small fix perhaps that we could look at doing. That's it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? So now we'll move on to officials and staff. City clerk.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Interim city manager.
Nothing, Your Honor.
City attorney.
Mayor, if I could maybe just give a short update on some of the comments that were made. Ms. Pratt and I have talked a couple of times. We weren't able to speak in the last few days, but there is something of an update on her comments. The homeowner who's been issued the ticket, and the city acts through its laws and its legislation, which is ordinance. That's how we can take action. And so the ticket was issued. The homeowner has taken steps to have his home treated with the most expensive treatment available from the company he contracted with. Unfortunately, that treatment is only occurring on the interior of the home. And I've talked to Ms. Pratt and also Mr. Wagner as well, that the major problem is the roaches outside of the home. And locating a company that would treat the exterior has been quite a challenge. We have located a company that will provide that type of treatment. That information has been passed on to the homeowner, who's been told that if he gets the exterior treated for the roaches as well, that the city may be willing to negotiate the resolution of the ticket. And so I'm told that he's taking action to do that, and hopefully will do that here in the next few days. He's to provide verification to me when it's completed, and then I'll check back with Ms. Pratt and Mr. Wagner at that point. We'll see, whether that's helped at least the problem that they're having.
You want to see the video of the swarm in
Public
the trash
Safety
can?
Director.
15 feet from my
Excuse
house?
me, sir. Public Safety Director.
Nothing, Your Honor, thank you.
DPW.
Nothing, Your Honor.
City Engineer.
Nothing other than I'd be happy to meet with the landlords if needed, so.
Okay. Thank you. Councilmember Cody. Councilmember Zelinski.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Councilmember Bixby.
Have a safe and happy Labor Weekend.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith. Councilmember Whitlow.
Well, with the cockroach issue, when the homeowner, is it Mr. Gillespie, has this treatment done, can we have a city official there to make sure it is done correct?
I would think that the officer who issued the ticket could go back to the property and verify that it's taken care of. Like I said, I've asked for verification that he does have the exterior treated. Again, there was only one company that we were able to locate that would provide treatment in the yard, but I think that we certainly could ask the officer to go back after that and see whether that's accomplished the goal or not.
Now, takeoff question on that is, with the infestation that's running all the way down 8th Street and wherever else, what else can we have done?
I'm not aware of any area-wide approaches. I don't know of any statute under which we could operate or any ordinance under which we could operate. I'm certainly happy to investigate that, but off the top of my head, I don't know the answer to that.
I think for these good people to have an answer in the next couple of days, I would be interested.
The answer, unfortunately, and it's not going to be to your satisfaction or theirs, but the answer is they need to contract for their own eradication.
We have.
The problem
It ain't
is,
working.
the problem is because the house across the street is still infested, they're still coming across the street. And no offense, Mr. Byfoss, you've had 2 months.
Excuse me.
Since I brought
we're
this
on
issue
council.
to your attention to think about it.
Okay. We're done with.
I know we're done, but
we
you
had
have to
city.
remember,
That's right.
no, I'm serious. You
No.
have to remember that if we spray our houses, the people that are low income and cannot afford to take care of their properties, they're not gonna spray, which means that you're not gonna be able to treat it. We're just
Ma'am, you
looking
had
for a
your time.
barrier.
We need to set up a different meeting, have this conversation.
But I'm just saying, I don't know they are aware
We
of the
understand.
problem.
We are, we're doing
Because they're
that.
kind of being around.
Anything else,
This is
Councilmember Whitlow?
The whole reason
Yes.
it's out of control is because that homeowner didn't make a barrier first.
We're working on it.
A barrier.
Not them.
I know,
He
but
threw his
Please.
trash out before treating.
Please,
It went
we have-
wild. He threw his trash in the yard, it went wild around.
We
the neighborhood,
understand.
and then he treated.
And we're working.
You want to see a video of the trash can 15
I
feet from my house?
do. Let's let the council have a break.
Okay, sorry, if you want to do this, you be as irate as we are.
I understand your.
and it's gonna spread to
I
others.
don't think we do.
These
I don't
family
want the house
up
burned
I've
down.
been there. I've been here. I
But let's give the council transportation meeting. We'll talk about it.
sorry.
And we're doing okay. We do have a plan, we are working, and the city attorney's doing a really good job working it with the whole.
Because we can afford to spray, with the low wage.
Earlier in the day, I sent a photograph off to the city manager. Did you get that, Ben? On the,
We talked about it this afternoon, but I did not.
yeah, I sent that off. The Riverwalk down by the Old Wicks building, there's washout, there's sand, there's the weeds up on the hill. I'm just wondering what can be done either through the DDA or the DPW, as Props and Hops is going to be in a couple weeks. We have a multitude of people and boat owners in.
Once I get it, presumably tomorrow morning, I'll follow.
Okay.
Councilmember Guston?
I just want to thank the citizens that brought this to our attention. Not all of us get to hear all the stories that happen. I do live right up the street from you folks. I'm on Engelman. I'm not too far away from the Sentinel station. And if it's any consolation, it's something that's now on my radar at a high level, and I'll follow up as much as I can. Again, I appreciate your bringing it to our attention. That's all.
I just wanted to say that I spent 2 days reading about German cockroaches. I know more about German cockroaches than a person should really know. And what you're saying is, I apologize for my cold. What you're saying is absolutely true. In fact, they even go to the point of not really getting rid of them. It's a management program. They multiply faster than you can imagine. They carry their own egg sacs. They go everywhere. The fact that winter may kill them is not true. They just move to the house. They'll crawl out under the siding. They look for moisture and warmth. That will survive them. They go 10 days without food. I've studied it. I sympathize with you, and I would hate to see it spread through the whole city. It would be just really, really bad. Thank you for your concern. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And I will also, on back of Councilmember Gutstedt, I appreciate you guys bringing it to our attention. As you said, it just came onto our radar screen here just in the last day or so. So I do appreciate your comments, and this entire council will look into the matter. So with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Meeting adjourned.